Hey guys, Mark Trout with Wallace Chevrolet. I am honored today to be joined with the founders of the Isaiah 117 house. This is Corey and Rhonda Paulson. This is Cassie DeJarnette. She is the expansion coordinator here in Anderson County, along with Dustin Hollifield. So one thing that we're doing at Wallace Chevrolet through the end of the year is we are partnering with the Isaiah 117 house. And so what I wanted to do was just to bring them in and let them share with you exactly what the Isaiah 117 house is.
So when children are removed from their home by social services out of concern for their safety from their family, that removal day, typically they are brought to the Department of Children's Services office, right? And they are alone and they're scared and they're in a cubicle or a conference room to wait, sometimes by themselves, sometimes for hours, sometimes days, to find out where they're going to be placed with the foster family. And Isaiah 117 house changes that day for them, right? We provide an actual house filled with volunteers that they are brought to, and they get to play, and they get to take a bath, and they get to be in a bubble bath and play on a playground and eat delivery pizza or whatever it is they want to do that day. On a really adult day, they get to be a kid and come to a house instead of going to a cubicle or a conference room. We like to say that Isaiah 117 house changes the way foster care begins for every kid.
Absolutely. Can you touch a little bit on the name and how it come about? I know it's a really neat story. If you could touch on that.
Yeah, the name came about twofold, really. Our first ever foster placement, his name is Isaiah, and Isaiah came to us at 9 months old. He came to us very dirty, in a borrowed outfit with a roach-infested diaper bag. And that was very eye-opening for us, that, not in some other country, not in some far-off land, in this country, our children enter foster care that way. And so that was the beginning. Took home our first little foster placement, Isaiah, and I tell people there's something about taking that first step of obedience when God's called you to something bigger, something about that first yes. And Isaiah was that first yes for us, that God just shows up. And so it was like the presence of God was so strong in our home that we started joking. It was like we had our own little prophet, Isaiah. And so we started reading through the book of Isaiah, and we landed on Isaiah 117. And basically that verse says, do good, seek justice, take care of the widow, take care of the orphan. But what I really love about that verse is if you dig a little deeper, you find out the context, God is speaking to his people.
Right.
And if you look at what comes before it, you find out he was actually quite frustrated. He says, you think I want what you're currently doing? Like, you think I want these sacrifices and these new moon festivals? No. What I want from my people is for you to do good and seek justice, take care of the widow, and take care of the orphan. And so that became our family verse. But Isaiah opened our eyes to a world we didn't know existed. And we felt God calling us through that verse to do something about it. And so that's where Isaiah 117 came from.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, I was going to ask you what kind of role your faith played, but I think that you just
Every aspect.
That one.
Every
Absolutely.
aspect.
I understand.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What about one thing that I have a concern with is that it seems that our society and our culture is being pushed toward a me-first attitude, where it's very individualistic, where everything exists to make me happy. But yet what you do is you survive off of volunteers. So you have people that they're not looking for money, but they go outside themselves and give back to what you do. What do you think plays into that?
I think for someone who's 46 and grew up in the church, by the time you're 46, you can maybe be a little bitter, a little jaded. But what this whole ministry has done for me, my family, and for everyone that steps into it is it's been such a display of what God is doing and how powerfully he's moving and how tangibly he's moving, and that he's building homes for children that he's never forgotten. And what I've realized, it's not that God's people don't care, they don't know.
Right.
And once they know, they absolutely care. And so even in this world that's all about me, and this society that's pushing us toward that, and even we see it in our churches, when we have this jolt, this moment of remembering, God has put inside of all of us that it's not about us, it's about something greater.
Absolutely.
And Isaiah 117 house gives us all an opportunity to step outside of ourselves and to step into something greater.
Perfect. Absolutely. So what about the red door? What's the significance of the red door? I just now thought of this. I didn't take
Yeah, well, and she's going to have to continue to talk because she's got the story of the red door. I mean, she's the genesis behind all that, is figuring that out. But
Well,
talk about that.
You know, we had this vision for this house, and every time I would see the house in my mind, it was a white house with a red door. And I would see it at Christmas time, and I would see a Christmas tree, and kids would come in on that day of removal, and we would already have presents under that tree with their name on it. That's what I kept seeing. Well, when we found the first ever house, it was white with a red door.
Wow.
And so I thought God already knew. Well, then after that, there's so much symbolism. Red means welcoming. You can talk about the blood of the lamb above the door for protection. I mean, there's so many things.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's where the red door came from.
That is awesome. That is so perfect.
It has a significance.
Absolutely it does.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, Cassie and Dustin, how can people in Anderson County, one thing that I've noticed about Anderson Countyans, is that a word?
It is now.
Anderson Countyans, they want to get involved. They're very welcoming. They're very accepting. How can they get involved here to help the Isaiah 117 house make it here?
Well, I think once people in our county know, then you're right. They're going to want to be involved because, as Rhonda said, you can't unknow what you know. We have a large population of children in foster care here in Anderson County, and in order to change that, and in order to change the way they come into the system, it's important for us to pray together at 117 every day. That's what we choose to do. We also need to be able to speak to employees and churches and small groups and friend groups so that people can know our story, so that they can help.
And there's a small thing called a golf tournament.
Golf tournament coming up.
Dustin's in charge of it.
Plug.
Golf tournament,
Plug.
yeah, absolutely. Big plug here. We need sponsors for the golf tournament. We need players for the golf tournament. So you can go to, I don't remember the website, Anderson, Isaiah 117 golf.
Well, you can go to the Facebook
Or just
page
the
and
main-
message.
the main-
Go to Isaiah
okay.
117 House, Anderson County,
Yeah.
and message through there.
Okay.
Yeah. Or the website is, it's Isaiah117house.com/golf, and click on Anderson County and sign up to be a part of that. Yeah.
Perfect. So what if they want to give donations, Cassie? What can they do?
Through September through December, you can drop supplies off here at Rusty Wallace Chevrolet in Clinton, or you can message our Facebook page. We'll be glad to meet with you, and we set up pop-up stands where we take donations during that time as well.
Absolutely.
And if you want to give monetarily, you can go to the website, Isaiah117house.com. You can choose Anderson County, and the funds that you donate will stay right here in this county to support the children of your county.
Perfect. And also, you can go to rustywallacechevrolet.com if you happen to be on our website under community, and we'll have a link to Isaiah 117 house. So, and also, through the end of the year, a portion of every vehicle that we sell will go directly to the Isaiah 117 house here in Anderson County.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's so
Absolutely.
awesome.
So be sure to check out our website and our Facebook page to see what donations that the Isaiah 117 house is looking for here in Anderson County. So thank you guys so much for coming in and sitting down with us.
Oh,
We love
thank
what
you.
do.
Thank you
so
God
much.
bless every one of you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all very much.